Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition, special Easter edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We're streaming out live on X, Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, Facebook Live, 21st Century Wire, and of course, alternate current radio. So, look, we're doing something a little bit different. Easter Sunday, I thought I'd try something different. Studio's off for Easter, and so are some of our colleagues, so we thought we'd give them a break, but I decided to do a mountain this morning. So we'll do the journey up, and then we'll conclude the show when we get to the top. It's about 2,500 feet, roughly, give or take. And we're probably not going to do the very end of the peak, so it'll be maybe less, like 2,200. We're not going to do the last 400 or 500 feet because it's too treacherous, and I'm not going to be able to use this camera because I need both of my hands. So we're going to skip that part, and I'm just going to do the trail, which is I'd say intermediate trail. It's going to be a few obstacles, but it's a little bit more windy here. We're in Arizona in the Superstition Mountains, and low altitude. So yeah, we're I don't know, probably about 500 feet above sea level, and then plus the peak. But we'll get to the top, and there's a cave up there. We'll be able to sit in that cave for a few minutes and have our final thoughts. So it'll be a little bit of a metamorphosis getting up to the top here. You might see some wildlife. Maybe. Probably going to be scared of the noise. Bobcats. I've seen bobcats up here, but before the sun comes up, you just see their eyes if you're wearing a headlamp. But Easter Sunday, it's been an eventful weekend. Quite a few U.S. planes shot down over Iran the last couple of days. Haven't heard much from our illustrious Secretary of War on this. It's funny, the U.S. denied that they lost any planes. That was the first order of business for the first 6 or 7 hours. Finally, they admitted it, that an F-15 was downed. Iran says it was an F-35. There's another A-10 Warthog also shot down, presumably as part of a rescue mission. So I guess this is Trump's Jimmy Carter moment, you could say. Let me just guarantee you this. The Iranians will take that plane and recover every single piece of it and piece it all back together and study it. And it'll become an exhibition somewhere after that. Probably one of many planes. I think another, possibly an MQ-4 Reaper or Global Hawk drone may also have been shot down. There's a pilot missing. Now, that's going to be interesting. When there's pilots involved, everything changes. The diplomacy becomes much more cordial, as you can imagine. And that's a big trading item. One U.S. pilot that's still alive, you could trade anything for it. So Iran's got quite a big card there. Now, the U.S. would do anything anything not to have that pilot on television, because that is pretty much, well, for Pete Kegg's breath and our wartime president, the Cheeto Lord, that's just going to be a public relations death by 1,000 cuts. So the U.S. will offer anything not to have that pilot on global TV. It's such good leverage that Iran could negotiate a cessation of hostilities from the U.S. and Israel. And if the U.S. doesn't abide, that they would then put that pilot on TV, male or female. Apparently one of them was rescued, but the rescue mission was a little bit of a train wreck. 2 U.S. helicopters, Global Hawks, were shot at and damaged. So they're lucky they didn't lose the C-130, the air refueler, 2 Black Hawk Downs. It's a bad look. It's not a good look. So, busy weekend from that point of view. So we'll see. This is a little bit of a strenuous climb. So I may appear to be out of breath, but I'm not. Just kind of getting used to it. I might pass a few people on the way. So Easter Sunday, there's a few big themes which we'll discuss later. One thing that's coming to the fore, which is quite extraordinary, is a slow realization that before this war started, Iran was at best a regional power. And now we're 5 weeks in, and they've gone from regional power to regional hegemon. And if you think about it, Iran now controls a sizable percentage of the global oil trade and gas trade, natural gas, just by nature of the control of the Straits of Hormuz. That makes them not just a regional hegemon, but a global power as well. And that is extraordinary. They really turned the tables on the US and Israel. And you have to remember that Israel had its eyes on regional hegemony and to become a global superpower, a city-state. Some call it the Greater Israel Project or Pax Judaica. And those plans, at least at the moment, appear to have stalled. So I'm getting up a little bit in altitude. This is the high desert. You can see plenty of cactuses and a number of very dangerous, sharp, tight desert plants that you don't want to put your hand around. I've done it before, and it's very painful. I've learned my lesson. Just don't touch anything on this path if you can avoid it. So, geopolitically speaking, the tables have turned, and this incredible flip on Zbigniew Brzezinski's grand chessboard in just 5 weeks. But it's not as if Brzezinski himself didn't warn about this very outcome. And that's the extraordinary thing, is he did before he died. On numerous interviews, you'll also find traces of this in his books. The Grand Chessboard being one of them. You also have The Choice. There's another good book. I have about 3 or 4 Brzezinski books, which are great geopolitical references. Not because they predicted the future as such, but why reading Brzezinski is so important is because you can see the architecture of the world order and how the British and the Americans after them fit into that sort of geopolitical template. So it's a bit like a roadmap. So that was grand strategy thinking, and he was one of the top grand strategists. Zbigniew Brzezinski, Jimmy Carter's national security advisor, founding member of the Trilateral Commission. So, yep. Okay. We're just gonna take a break here. Yeah. Take a quick break. Might take a swig of water. So, the grand chessboard has flipped, and now you got a new world that we're looking at. And Iran has created leverage for himself. If you think about the hand, Donald Trump says, well, we've got the cards, or Ukraine doesn't have the cards, we have all the cards. And Iran has not a royal flush. They have they had an average hand coming into this exchange. But now they've come out with quite an extraordinary hand as they managed to parlay this crisis into real geopolitical leverage. And that is pretty incredible. With really nothing, a few anti-ship missiles and drones, and they're able to project power enough to control the flow of oil in the Straits of Hormuz. So the Gulf have gone from being a sort of client state of the United States, buying their weapons, buying and selling their oil and LNG in US dollars. So doing 2 things: providing profit for the military-industrial complex of the US and Britain, and they're also compelling those tribal Gulf sort of fake monarchies. They're not real royals. They were selected by the British Empire. So they're not hereditary royals, they're just sort of leading tribal families, chieftains of their day, converted into monarchs, backed by Western imperialists. But they're now having to deal with the traditional hegemon of the region. If you go back a few thousand years, is Persia, i.e. modern day Iran. So that's a little bit of a problem for the Gulfies and for the US. Pretty much had them like caged birds, doing their bidding, and the US taking its tithing tax off every barrel of oil and pushing that tax onto the American people in the form of inflation and deficit spending paid for the military-industrial complex. That's how it works. Sort of a nice little, tidy little cycle. Geopolitical, economic cycle. So that chessboard is potentially flipped as a result. And we're going into the spring and summer now. The US want to escalate and put troops on the ground. That's pretty clear. Maybe it's debacle over the weekend. May throw a temporary spanner into the works of that. But the mentality of what you're dealing with if you look at a sociopath like Pete Hegseth and this type of someone promoted to the level of incompetence, they have to double down. It's literally written in stone. So this week he was purging members of the military, generals. We're guessing, it's probably not a difficult guess, that the purge of generals, including the Army Chief of Staff, including generals that commanded previously the 82nd Airborne Infantry Division, the one that Trump announced he's deploying to the Middle East for a imminent ground invasion of Iran. Those generals. So quite obviously there was dissent among the ranks about this ground invasion. So rather than listen to the commanders, the people with experience, the people who are actually qualified, unlike the self-styled Secretary of War, who is not even qualified to lead a platoon in the US military, or if he is, just about. If you count the occupation of Afghanistan as a real war, which I don't, and I don't know anyone's honest that does, or if you count Iraq as a real war for America, I don't. It's an illegal war of aggression against a non-existent organized military, which they then call counterinsurgency. Dress it up nice. Make it sound like they have a reason to be there. So that's Pete Hegseth. So he's fired the generals, and you're probably wondering at this point, even with all those bad omens and bad signs, would you still double down and go through with it anyway? Even though all the experts are saying no, the highest ranked generals in the US military system are saying no. Half the press and the political conversation saying no, but they have to double down because this is what's called the sunken cost fallacy, where you've already staked your entire reputation, or if we're talking in terms of political science, you have wagered all of your political capital. So you put all your chips on the table in the great grand casino. All your political capital is there on the table. You put all the chips on, you're going in. The entire reputation of the Trump administration's legacy, the US government, domestically, internationally, its reputation, its viability, all depends on whether they're going to go through with this or not. And even though tactically it has every reason to fail, and then what are you going to actually achieve? That's not clear, other than, well, photo ops. I said it many times before, that the currency of this administration is memes, photo ops, and tweets. That's what it is. There is nothing else. So, as long as said action can generate those three things, then they'll go for it. I mean, is it just about going in, kicking some ass, and then sort of leaving and then declaring victory, or obliterating the enemy? Sort of a Team America type situation. It's kind of what it's been reduced to. And if you think about it, sort of what a Team America has become a reality show with this presidency, who campaign on the very opposite. There's a nice view. We're about 1,500 feet up. So we made a nice little climb. Not very long. It's a steep trail. You do get a little tired. I may appear to be out of breath, but I'm not. It's a lot windier than what we're used to. Normally, it's desert heat. And it's not getting warm right about now, this time of year. Got a rare cold front though, it's pretty windy up here as well. I can't tell because I've got a wind guard on my mic, which hopefully is working. So, it's an interesting Easter. And we'll talk about the political and geopolitical dimensions. We've done that already. We'll talk a little bit about the spiritual dimension as well when we get a little bit higher up. We're going to do a little sprint in a minute. Might get into the passing lane. So, I hope our teammates are having a good Easter break. Is it good to see Pressure and Ruckus in Texas this past week? That was a big thrill. I managed to catch up with another great guy. His name is Jay Dyer. And had a great conversation with Jay, who actually filmed it, which will be out imminently. But it was about this religious cult known as Christian Zionism. And that sort of religious extremism pushed by fanatics like Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee. I wish these were harmless fringe actors, but unfortunately, they're at the center of U.S. politics. Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, did nothing politically, ran for president a few times. It's a bit of a joke, but he showed sufficient fealty to you-know-who, the state of Israel. So he was gifted the U.S. ambassadorship to Israel, which is basically the official position should be called apologist for genocide, because that's sort of his more or less role, is to deflect from all of the quite obvious war crimes, the cleansing of Gaza, the West Bank, and now South Lebanon. Genocide in Gaza, and another genocide case is being filed or will be filed with the International Court of Justice about Israel's attempted genocide of South Lebanon. So that's something to look forward to in the next year, which is happening. And it's interesting, especially being Easter, a good time to reflect on a couple of points. One of them is Israel attacked the mausoleum of one of Jesus' apostles, Simon Peter, in South Lebanon. If I'm not mistaken, this would have been in the village of Shama. I could be wrong. Correct my geography if anybody's in the comment threads. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, what else have they destroyed in South Lebanon? The historic lands of the Levant that Jesus himself walked on, gave sermons on this side of the hill in Sidon, in places like this. It turns out the shrine of St. Peter, another apostle, the idea of put explosives inside the shrine. I believe that was in 2024, and blew it up. Why did they do that? Well, as usual, Israel claims that it was because there was a threat from an ancient Christian shrine built on the very ground in the Holy Land where the apostles walked and sat with Jesus Christ. So that's kind of an erasure of history. Follows a very familiar pattern of similar attacks on historic Christian churches and sites in Gaza, and even denying access for the first time in history for Catholic worshippers and even the bishops and cardinals to attend Palm Sunday at the Holy Sepulchre Church in Jerusalem. And now imagine if that shoe was on the other foot, and that was Muslims or Christians denying Jews access to their holy sites. There would just be an uproar in the media, and the political class. Maybe not so much so in the general population, But there will be a definite push to make that some sort of major Rubicon. But Israel's not just denying access during the Holy Week to historic Christian sites. They're actually blowing up those ancient churches. Now they can be rebuilt, but it's not going to be the same. So imagine all these years and those buildings stood. And suddenly, under the bogus guise of fighting terrorism, they can just blow them up. And what's more shocking is that not a word of protest from American Christians, people who identify as Christian. With regards to Christian Zionists, it's hard to see how their version of Christianity squares with reality, much less their own scriptures. But put that aside. Certainly, Israel and Netanyahu say that they're the defenders of Christianity in the Middle East. I highly doubt it. They've done more to attack and drive Christians out of the Levant, of Iraq, of Syria, by nature of the forces that they've been colluding with, including ISIS. The net result is less Christians in the Middle East. And you have to ask yourself why. Why would Israel want to push the indigenous, original Christians from the Holy Land? It's a good question, isn't it? There's two answers to that. I'll explain. The reason, firstfold, is that Christians represent, in the Middle East, a mitigating factor. It's very hard for Israel and the US to go full scorched earth against Muslim countries if there is a Christian population living there. So Iraq is a good example. I would even say, Iran, Iraq, Syria is the greatest example. Lebanon, it's more or less 60-40, 60% Muslim, 40% Christian. But Palestine used to be 30% Christian. But the Israelis, through conflict, drove them out. And a lot of Christians fled, left to Egypt. Egypt also had a Coptic Christian community that suddenly terror attacks started happening against churches, like as if by magic. And many Copts have left Egypt and to settle in the West or as religious refugees. Many have gone to Australia, Europe, United States, Canada, South America, Mexico as well. Pretty much the diaspora spread all over the world. And that's by design. Because if you can get rid of the Christian population from the Middle East, this is the US strategy. Now, people like Glenn Beck pretend to be crusaders, pretend to be rescuing Christians from ISIS. He raised millions of dollars with this scam, the Mercury Project, and all these other sort of religious-based initiatives to tug at the heartstrings of pious and religious Americans. But what they're really doing is not looking at the cause of, why is it that ISIS is using U.S. weapons exclusively? Why is it that the United States is airdropping supplies in ISIS-held territory? Why is it that Barack Obama admitted under his administration spending on record over $3 billion in trafficking small arms and man-pads and tow missiles to Al-Qaeda in Syria? And of course, their membership was pretty much fluid and synonymous with ISIS. So it was effectively ISIS. by pushing Christians out of the Holy Land. It then takes the safety off the gun, as it were, to really unload and carpet bomb Muslim populations in the Middle East, to force them out. And this is exactly what we've been witnessing. We've seen this in Palestine. We've seen it in Lebanon. We've seen it in Syria. We've seen the US do it in Iraq, and so forth. So that's number one. Number two is somewhat more insidious. Israel's like ISIS. ISIS is the Islamic State in Iraq and Sham, or the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, ISIL. Israel is the same thing. It's JSIL, the Jewish state in the Levant. And Greater Israel includes Iraq, from the Nile to the Euphrates. Netanyahu himself unveiled that this past fall. That's their plan, and Mike Huckabee was pressured in a recent interview, I think it was with Tucker Carlson or another mainstream outlet, and he admitted that Israel's going to take it all over. So they'd prefer to have no Christians there. Why? Because Israel wants to rewrite the civilizational history of the Levant, to exclude anything that predates, Talmudic, rabbinical Judaism, or whatever the concept of the state of Israel, which was really conceived in the late 19th century. And in terms of the physical ethno-nation state, bizarre secular ethno-religious nation state, which was conceived in the late 1900s, has nothing to do with biblical Israel. There's plenty of debate over what Israel actually means in the Bible, and that debate should be had. The offspring of Jacob and Abraham before him, a whole mythology has been ascribed to this. You can hear it from people like Ted Cruz, who say, the Bible commands us to support Israel. And those who don't support Israel will be cursed, according to the Bible, says Ted Cruz. Do you believe any of that? Is there anybody listening to this live stream that actually believes any of that? Honestly, it's patently ridiculous, but again, we have to thank Tucker Carlson, a great debt of gratitude, for exposing this craziness to such a wide audience, and watching Ted Cruz hoist himself by his own petard, as they say in Britain. So we're getting close to the sort of, not the summit of this Superstition Mountain. Great name for a mountain range. We're getting close. We're not going to do the final peak because we need to be completely hands-free. I might come back and do it another day. But this is a nice place to take a rest and share some thoughts, further final thoughts about Easter. Look at that. You can't even see where we started. There's a little tiny white dot over my shoulder there. That's where we started when I switched this on, which is incredible. Arizona is a beautiful place. I love it. I'm proud to call it my home state. And nature's a big part of that. Nature's a big part of that. Access to nature is really important. There's a cave up here. I think we're gonna try to We make our way up here. On a hot day, you can go from here down to the Salt River, and which is a spring from Superstition Springs, and it forms the Salt River complex, and it's so refreshing to do that on a hot day. It's kind of a payoff after you do the climb. There's quite a few people up here. Because it's early. That's what you do. You get up before it gets hot. So there's a few of our compadres. There's a few more coming. This is high traffic, hasn't arrived yet. That's probably going to be in about an hour. We'll probably see quite a few of them going down. But this is cool. This is a series of caves that are kind of etched in the side. And when you drive back about 5 or 6, 7, 10 miles, these caves, this bit of gold rock looks like a gold vein running through the side of this mountain. So I suppose when the prospectors were up here prospecting for gold back in the gold rush days, they probably looked up at this mountain and said, there's gold in them hills. But I filmed quite a few of those videos after October 7th on this mountain up at the top, and as you can see, it's an amazing view, and we're kind of lucky to have access to this. In some places you wouldn't have access to it. You would be severely restricted, or if you're in some places you've got, health and safety and things like that to contend with. But I was having an interesting conversation with my mother, of all people, about Easter. She reads a lot, and even at her age, that's a voracious appetite for knowledge. But talking about the difference between redemption and salvation, it's kind of an interesting question, especially on this day. Now, I don't know, you don't have to be religious to understand what I'm talking about here. You don't have to be a Christian or Catholic or Protestant or whatever your denomination or non-denomination is. But what's the difference between those two things? And if you follow Christianity, then this is the weekend of the resurrection, and Jesus died for the sins of the people, for the world, for humanity. He offered redemption. Now, you could peel away the different doctrines and layers of doctrines of Christianity, but we'll boil it down to something very simple that we can have a conversation today on, which is that you could say, is redemption the same as salvation? Two different things. So if you interpret the scriptures or teachings of Jesus Christ, that he's offered redemption, so he, sacrificing himself, achieved redemption, and that merely opens the door for the individual. So after that, it's not automatic salvation, and that's the important point. That's something that each individual has to find within themselves to pursue in their life. Whatever they're doing, what they do for, what they're doing with their family, with themselves, with their family, for their community, maybe what you do for a living. Some people find salvation in their vocation, that or charity. I'm not talking about charities like organizations. I'm talking about charitable acts or helping people in the community. A lot of people find their own personal salvation through what they do, through their vocation. That could be looking after a family member, that could be raising your children, looking after your husband or your wife, your parents, providing a home, maintaining that home. These are all vocations. What you do for a living, if you're a doctor, you work in medical or EMS, or you're a clinician, or you're doing things to help people to improve their lives, to make their lives better, to make their lives better. And you enjoy that, and that gives you meaning and purpose in your life. You are in a certain way achieving salvation through those vocations. Or if you're a spiritual teacher, or you're a teacher, or you're a coach, sporting coach, you're helping to make people better, you're a trainer, you're a health practitioner, all these things. And many different things. You could be a gardener, you could be working in agriculture and food, selling, service industry. The service industry is a vocation for a lot of people. People go to hang out in restaurants, coffee shops, clubs, and their whole life plays out at these venues. The people looking after them are facilitating that. The bar staff, or the waiters or waitresses, or the manager, the owner, they're facilitating your life, your memories. And a lot of people work in that field view it as a vocation. They're there to make people happy and serve them. That's part of that is a vocation. So it's just a few examples. You could be a teacher, you could be working in media, or you could be many different things. Auto mechanic. There's unlimited amount of vocations. We find salvation through our vocations in life, whatever that is. You could be a monk, volunteering, a journeyman on a sannyasin, a sojourn. These are all forms of vocation. So you don't get automatic redemption if you're a Christian. I'm making an argument, of course, but you have the potential for, you've been redeemed, but you don't get automatic salvation, is what I meant. That's really up to what you do in life, what you do, what you spend your time doing. So that's just a little thought. There's not much I can say for Easter that hasn't been said already. But I remember after October 7th going to the top of this peak. There's further up, another 500 feet or another 400 feet. Very difficult, slightly more difficult rocky climb. A few little faces to traverse. But I did some viral videos. One of them's at the top of my X account that has over 1 million views. And that was just straight up. I put out a couple of these. I'd hike up here and think about what I wanted to say, and then when I got to the top, hit record and do like a 3-minute video. I did 3 or 4 of those, and they all got millions and millions of views. But the point is that I had to clear my head. I had to climb all the way up here. This climb we just did, roughly 40 minutes, to gather your thoughts, clear your head, and wait for inspiration when you get to the top. And when you get to the top, you just turn it on and you just talk. And I did that. And that's kind of what we did today, although slightly out of breath through parts of it. But this is definitely worth it, as you can see. You know, we're very lucky to have access to this type of a landscape. And that's all we got time for this week. We're probably going to wrap up this discussion, but this is episode 589 of the Sunday Wire, this weekly omnibus news and analysis, radio, television, program, podcast. Hope you guys had a good Easter weekend, a good bank holiday if you're in the UK and Europe. And if you're in the US, wherever you are, you pray that we can de-escalate the situation in Iran. It's a fluid situation. It's changing by the minute. I mean, by the time I get done with this program today, something earth-shattering, I'm sure, will have happened, which I haven't talked about or addressed. So apologies if I missed anything. But yeah, it's been good having you with us. As you can see, we've been putting these walk and talk videos. This isn't going to be the normal Sunday Wire format. It's just because it's Easter, Hesher, Ruckus, everybody, we're sort of taking the weekend off for Easter. So I thought I'd just go solo for the Sunday Wire, and then I've got my also obligations on Easter Sunday as well. So I'll leave you. But yeah, we've been getting great engagement on these videos. So as you can see, some of the view counts, people are contacting us saying we're getting recommendations for your channel in our feed. We've never seen that before. So yeah, that's good. Finally, after 12 years. And that's because you guys have been pushing hard. So like and subscribe to this video. We have to physically overcome the algorithmic suppression, and we thank everybody who's helped us do that. We need to keep pushing, and it's working. It's working. We've been able to physically overcome the type of algorithmic suppression that this channel has been under, especially on YouTube, for forever, really. So yeah, we really appreciate that. And the other thing, you guys, there's a link in the description. You can support our independent media platform, donate, subscribe. We prefer if you become a member at 21wire.tv. That would be ideal. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. That's one way you can help us on a weekly basis. It's only for a few dollars a month, but it goes a long way. If like say 20% of the people watching this live stream now subscribe to 21wire.tv, $5 a month, right now, that would make a massive difference for us in the next month. So we've had a successful winter fundraising drive thanks to all you guys, and we've been able to do a lot. We've done some filming as well recently in Texas, and you'll see the results of that. Possibly a new program, so something to look forward to. And again, that's because of your help and your support. That's all we've got time for today. It's episode 589 of the Sunday Wire. Thank you guys. Happy Easter weekend. We shall see you during the week. Keep your eyes on our feed here, especially on YouTube. There'll be more videos from up in the mountains this week, and then we'll probably be shifting locations next week again. So, and we'll have a totally different look for you. But we're going to deliver. The direct line of communication with our audience this way, much more, as well as what we do in the studio, and as well as guest appearances on many podcasts, of which I'm heading to one right now. So I've got to get down this hill in 40 minutes or so, grab a coffee, and we got another live stream to do, just hopefully, in just a few hours. So I've got to prepare for that. Anyway, take care, you guys. All the best.
inside their hearts as explosions rage. The system breaks as truth increases. The grip on us and the world order ceases. Behind the mask, it's falling to pieces. What comes next? Have they lost all reason? Paper empires catch a spark as vultures come to prey. Hollow kings are losing ground. Shadows of decay. The walls begin to show a crack as ancient echoes fade. Scales shall fall from blinded eyes, renewing all our faith. The system breaks as truth increases. The grip on us and the world order ceases. Behind the mask, it's falling to pieces. What comes next? Have they lost all reason? Eyes open wide. There's no disguise. Eyes open wide. The system breaks as truth increases. The grip on us and the world order ceases. Behind the mask, it's falling to pieces. What comes next? Have they lost all reason? The system breaks as truth increases. The grip on us and the world order ceases. Behind the mask, it's falling to pieces. What comes next? Have they lost all reason? Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. In Gaza somehow. How many children have to die? There are no sides when their mothers cry, and no real way to justify their death that comes from an evil sky. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. In Gaza somehow. Damaged like a nuclear bomb, dressed in What's this say about who we are? 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? Digital images and digital lies cut out their heart along with their supply. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans and silence their cries. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Without equality, there will always be war. We have all the history to see how it's happened before. Travel as equals, equality for all, or else mankind will surely fall. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? This might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are?
All of the pictures left unpainted, all of the games they left unplayed, all the laughter in the playground, all of the arts they never made. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. All of those voices left in silence, all with their names written in kind, lest their bodies poked from rubble, lifeless empty dolls to find. Ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. What are the songs they've never written? What are the words they'll never sing? And the darkness of the nightmare, inescapable that rings. The ghost faces of a million Palestinian children. I hear the crying, helpless children, God's most precious and most dear. silence of 1 million Palestinian children. So what do we really stand for? Is this how our future's made? And when we ever find the courage to stand up unafraid, I tear away the persecution of the Palestinian children. Rise up and be the guardians of the Palestinian children. To respect our obligation, every creed and every nation, 'cause every soul deserves protection. Save the Palestinian children. Save the Palestinian children.